Hello, Ann Preston.
Hi, Claire Baxter Brown. How are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm good and feeling good.
So, tell me, who is Ann Preston? Tell us about yourself and a little about your journey.
Okay, big question. Where do you begin? Professionally, I do TV news. I'm at work right now, so I figured I would do this on the news set. So the lighting could be a little bit nicer.
I know you look so fantastic. You do. Well, first of all, you're a beautiful woman. And
professional lights make a big difference.
Yeah, I know. Here I am in my office in the fluorescent lights, and I'm like,
you look great. You look great.
No.
But yeah, so I do TV news. I've been in this industry for many years now, probably going on 13 or 14 years, showing my age a little bit. Traveled all over. I'm from Florida, so I have had jobs, gosh, about every 2 to 3 years. Oftentimes in my business, you move around. So I've moved around a lot.
Right.
And I started off in Gainesville. I went to school at the University of Florida. Got my very first job, was so lucky to get a job in Gainesville, where I met my husband.
Yes.
Met on a TV news story, actually, in Gainesville. We're good. Sorry, I've got somebody coming in. Okay, that's okay. I'm in the middle. That's okay. I'm so sorry. We got production coming in, and that was actually one of our news managers. Bye, Chad. It's a crazy business. People are coming in and out all the time, so you might see things happening in the studio here.
That's okay. Good with that.
Worked in Gainesville for about 2 years, and then I was able to kind of move up in market size and go back to my hometown in Fort Myers, where I was a reporter there. And then I went to Tallahassee to join who would be my future husband, because we kind of dated long distance for a while all over Florida. And then from Tallahassee, I went to Tampa, and we lived in St. Petersburg, and I was an anchor in Tampa Bay. And then from there, I landed in Arkansas, and we came here because of Mike's job. And I was able to find a job here at the Media Gateway.
Okay. And so you're not on our local news here. Explain how this works, Ann.
I know. It can be kind of confusing, because I tell people I do TV news and I live in Little Rock, and they say, what channel? And I say, well, you can't see me in Arkansas.
Right.
This is it's unique, because I had never even heard about something like this until I worked for this organization, this company, but it's so cool. So I come in and I do news from Little Rock. We have the anchors here, the meteorologists here, and the sports and production crew here. And we do news for markets all over the country.
Yeah.
So let me tell you about a typical day. I come in and I do a piece of one newscast. We have to shoot some of the newscasts in segments. It's so crazy. So I shoot a piece of one newscast for Meridian, Mississippi. Then I go live, and I'm live in Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia. And I do 2 shows there. And then back to back, they just change the background behind me. And each of the stations has reporters in those markets. So they're on the ground gathering content there. And then I go to Gainesville, Florida, which is so funny, because that was the first place that I ever worked. Back now, virtually, remotely. Then I take a little bit of a break, very short. And I come back and I do a newscast in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and another newscast in Meridian, Mississippi. So I'm constantly in a different city every half hour or so. And sometimes you forget where you are a little bit.
Oh, dear. Oh, Ann.
What'd you say?
I said, oh, dear, Ann.
Right. You have to remember, sometimes it'll be, snowing in Delaware, and, it's still 80 degrees in Florida. So you have to what you're wearing for the day needs to sort of be neutral, so you don't look ridiculous. But it's really fun. And I feel so lucky to have this job. I really do, because when we moved to Little Rock, I thought, okay, great. Maybe I can try to get a job at one of the stations in Little Rock. And I was an anchor in Tampa. So I was thinking, hopefully there'll be an opening for me here. But as you know, Little Rock and Arkansas is such a wonderful place to live that oftentimes the anchors don't leave.
No, we are blessed to have the ones we have, and they've been here for a long time, and we have great relationships with them because of that. Yeah.
They do such a good job, and that's so special when somebody can stay in a place for a long time.
Right.
And so there was really not an opening for me, but I found out about this organization, this company, just a perfect. this
Well,
job.
my question is then, Anne, I guess you're reporting the national news in all these markets. Is that what it is?
It's national news, but we have reporters in each of those places. So they're gathering local news. It's a newscast just as if you would see one in Little Rock. So you'll see the reporters out covering city council, out covering stories about crime, whatever's happening in that city. It's a local newscast. The only difference is the anchors are in a studio somewhere else.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It does. I got you now. Anyways, so because you do love Little Rock and like all the other local newscasters, you do a ton of philanthropic work here. I mean, you have just really dove into our community and it's just grabbed a hold of you, right?
Well, I've always been very committed to serving others. And being that I don't cover the news in the community where I live, doing community service here has been exceptionally important for me to really become a part of the fabric of Little Rock and Central Arkansas and Arkansas as a whole. And when I very first moved here, I was fortunate to meet First Lady Susan Hutchinson. And one of the first things she shared with me was her passion for helping the Children's Advocacy Centers of Arkansas. Boy, her passion is contagious because I just knew, wow, you know, if I move here, that's something that I have to get involved in. I want to help these children as well. And so I did. So I was able to start working with her, and we worked on, it was a new event a couple years ago called the Arkansas Women of Inspiration. Are you familiar with it?
Yes.
So we, the first year we actually honored the First Lady, and then the next year we honored John L. Hunt, and then the third year I took a bigger role, and I was the co-chair of the event.
Nice.
San Rockefeller.
Yeah.
We were able to raise so much money to help children throughout Arkansas who are in really bad situations. And that work has just been so gratifying. Yeah. And I'm still involved. We've got the event coming up this year as well. And still involved. I'm not co-chairing this year because I've taken a role in some other organizations, as you know, because that's how you and I know each other.
Right. That's how we connected. You and I serve on a board together for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation.
You've been doing that for a couple years now?
A few years now. Yeah, I had a client that my clients become very dear friends to me for the most part. And I had a very dear client that touched me in a great way whose children have cystic fibrosis. And that's how I got involved. That was my connection with cystic fibrosis. There is a former employee of our assistant director. I don't really know I don't pay attention to titles too much sometimes. But anyways, worked for Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, and I knew her family member, and she then met me, and she was like, "Let me put you to work." And so,
oh my gosh, and you are such a powerhouse on that committee. Let me tell you, I'm so thankful that you're a part of it because you are not afraid to get to work.
No, I'm not afraid to be bossy. That's more what it is.
But I'm so thankful because, as you know, the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation is something really important to my husband and I, because we do have a personal connection to cystic fibrosis as well.
Yeah. And so, you guys are our honorees this year, and we're so happy to have you involved. And you're knocking it out as well. I mean, we're so far ahead of goal with everything, and so we're grateful to have you guys there.
Well, a big part of that is because of our friends that we've made in Arkansas that have rallied around us. I'll share with you just briefly a little bit about our story and how we got involved with cystic fibrosis, because it was a shock to us. We were trying to start a family, and I went to the doctor to do some basic testing to make sure I was healthy and everything was good to go. And one of the last tests I did was genetic testing to see if I was a carrier for any diseases. With no family history, we didn't think much about it.
Right.
And so I was tested, and it came back, and the doctor said, how about this? You're a carrier for cystic fibrosis. Do you have any family history of that? I said, well, no, gosh, I don't have any. He said, do you know what cystic fibrosis is? I said, I actually do, because one of my dear friends from college has a son with cystic fibrosis. So I had a limited knowledge about what it was, but I didn't know too much. And he said, well, don't worry, because it's only an issue for family planning if your husband is also a carrier. And the odds of both of you being a carrier are 1 in 600. I think, okay, we're probably pretty good here. That's 0.001%. So
Right.
we'll take those odds, but let's go ahead and get Mike tested. It's a simple blood test, and we'll just see. So we get him tested, and about 2 weeks later, the doctor calls and says, I can't believe this. I'm so sorry to tell you, Mike's a carrier too.
Yeah.
Woo! So that rocked our world a little bit. What does this
Right.
mean? How could this be? We don't have any family history of this. What does it mean for our family? And as you well know, it means that any child that you might have together has a 1 in 4 chance or a 25% chance of having cystic fibrosis.
Right.
75% chance of either being 50% chance of being a carrier and a 25% chance of being an unaffected non-carrier.
Right.
So the odds are still in your favor, but of course, after those 6 odds, you're thinking, oh, 1 in 4 is sounding a little bit frightening.
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
So you feel really helpless, Claire, when you get information like that. So what did we do? One of the first things was, let's get involved. Let's find out everything we can and start working with the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, because that is something in a helpless situation we can do to help.
Right.
And it's been really great. And we've met a lot of wonderful people like you and other people that are involved in the organization. And we've been to the gala last year. We went to the Taste of the Finest event. We volunteered at the walk this year. We were at the registration table. And we're going to be the co-MCs for this year's Taste of the Finest, by the way.
Right. Yeah.
And then as you mentioned.
I love that you just jump in and without hesitation. And sign of great leadership is giving back. And y'all do that at such a high level. And Little Rock is so fortunate for that, and you spread that leadership around, and Cystic Fibrosis is so lucky to have you guys involved this year at such a high level. And so I just encourage others to get involved with whatever is passionate with their heart, and so that they do leadership and lead with your heart, and productivity follows. And that's just the way it is. And so, yeah.
If you care about something, there's probably a way to do something for the good of that cause.
Absolutely.
Us, we care about many different causes, but right now this is our main focus, and we've been so lucky for friends rally around us and help us. And yes, we've raised some really great money so far for the gala.
Right.
And I hope more is on the way to come. I think.
Oh, I'm sure it is, because of your passion, and I love that so much. I think it's fantastic. And I love that. That's just such great leadership. And so thank you so much for your gifts and sharing them and all that you do for others. And I'm so glad to know you, and I appreciate how you do things. I think it's fantastic. So you have a great rest of your week.
Oh my gosh, you too. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Okay. Bye, Ann.